let us be objective. And $12,000 to taxpayers is a chunk of money.
I think for that amount of money, I think we get over and above what we pay for. We pay for an independent person, basically an independent person, come in here, look at our books, help out with whatever we need to do, and I think it's money well spent.
And Mr. DePlacido, he's not an independent individual, okay? Mr. Maloney was on the board, the school board, years ago. He is an integral part of the school district.
Which makes
Your
it not much better.
opinion, you have an opinion, that's fine.
Right.
Doesn't mean,
That's all
but
I'm saying.
it's your opinion, that's great.
It's a discussion.
I have a question about how many hours, and I haven't met him yet, about how many hours is he working, if he's getting $1,000 a month? How much time does he spend roughly? If he was to be here, he'd get $185 per hour.
Right.
About how many hours is he working with Verizon?
We send him the reports, he reviews it. If he'll send questions to me, I'll answer them. I couldn't answer that for him. I really, but I do know he's reviewing everything. I mean, he's given a stamp of approval, you see it. He asks a lot of questions. We're always answering those back and forth, so, yeah, and then keep in mind, I mean, that we're really looking at really cash coming in and cash going out. Those are what's being reviewed here.
And things are going well. I mean, we're doing.
Can I add something? Can I go back? We don't have to go back to the presentation, but I'm going to go back to 2013, okay? When I said I didn't have anybody here, I stand corrected. Joe Maloney walked across the street from over here in his office and volunteered to sit down with our people in the business office without paying them a penny and helped us get back together again and didn't ask for a cent, okay, number one. Number two, he does have a vested interest in this district because he wants to see this district exceed and excel. That's his interest. His oversight protects him and us, and I think should be more of an insurance policy for this group, or that what I'm doing and what he's doing is being watched by somebody else. So, my opinion, $12,000, absolutely, he's worth every cent of it. And if we're that concerned and have questions, let's pay the $185 and bring him in here for an hour, ask him his questions, and see what he does for everybody and for the new people on the board that don't know. Invest an hour or two and let him explain the process, but I don't know why we would change something that is clearly working for us.
I would absolutely agree, and I just wanted to, say Joe Maloney is a CPA, his office is across the street, he's a Mill Creek taxpayer, he's a good guy. But I personally have a problem with him not attending our board meetings, and it was a point of contention with me and the old board. And they voted it in executive session, which they weren't supposed to, and they said they didn't care what I thought. So we brought it out on the floor. But I like Mr. Hall's thoughts about having him come, because it's a statement that Mrs. McClintock has been a board member since last December, and she hasn't met Joe Maloney. She could bump into him at the Wegmans and not know who the guy is. That's a problem. I think at least quarterly we should have him come in. And if it does cost an additional $185, I don't know that he would charge us. But the last board was hell-bent on not having him coming in here, period. And I think that's wrong. And it's no slight against Aaron or anybody else, but I think that he needs to be here occasionally. I don't have a problem with Joe Maloney. I'm just going to vote no because he's not required to be here. Joe Maloney is a good person. He's a CPA. He's a tremendously good person. He has helped this district immensely.
He wasn't charging us $1,000 a month until a few months ago. He wasn't collecting his full fee until about 4 months ago, I think, maybe 5.
Right, there were many months, Mr. Pitzer, he charged us $400, $500, $600, that's correct.
And honestly, I haven't heard a question yet on any of the financial things. There's always the opportunity to go back to Joe and say, hey, the board had a question about this, or the board had a question about that. Taken care of at the COW meeting, where it should be, okay? You can always go back to him and get an answer. To have him here at a meeting, I'm not sure what that brings to
Well, sure, if you brought it to the committee of the whole, that would be fine also, because it's attended by all the board members, absolutely, that's fine. But, what really got my goat is that I would read the attendance of the community advisory board, and the Community Advisory Board has 0.000 governing power. And I read that Joe Maloney attends that, and he doesn't charge us, because he's part of the Citizens Advisory Board. I personally have a problem with that. I would like to see him at least quarterly, we don't need him every month, but I'd like to see him like quarterly, and attend board meetings. I'm sorry, like a committee of the whole, I misspoke. If he did that 3 times a year, I'd be fine with that.
So let me speak for Aaron. What do you want him to say when he comes?
Hello, I'm Joe Maloney, good to meet you. And I'm the CPA, because I asked him before, I asked him 2 years ago, why aren't we putting more money in that reserve account? And he said, well, Mike, he said, what we're gonna do is we're asking to go over the index for the state. And if I put more money in that reserve account, we're not allowed to ask to go over the index. I said, okay, thank you. I asked a question and it was answered. Wasn't the answer I wanted to hear, but it's what he told me, because that's exactly what he told me. We can't put more money in there if we're gonna go for the exemption. So that's the kind of an answer that I got from the guy that's a CPA, that's a treasurer.
But see, in my opinion, that wouldn't really be his role. His role as a treasurer is cash in and cash out.
Right.
That's it. He's not a consultant for what we should do. That's this group. That's us.
But I would swear on a Bible, that's exactly what he told me.
Oh, no, I don't discount that he may not have said that, but I'm just saying, if that's the purpose for you wanting to bring him here, I don't know that that's the right purpose, just in my opinion.
Mr. DePlacido, you just mentioned that there were no questions that were raised by the board relative to revenue and expenses.
That couldn't be answered by Mr. O'Toole.
Okay, and isn't it true that I have sent several email correspondence questioning the accounts payable?
I don't know which ones you, I get a lot, Mr. Alligood.
Okay,
I don't know
but
that,
I'm
I
questioning
don't know that you
accounts
haven't
payable.
got what you need to do what you
Mr.
need to
DePlacido,
do.
please, don't, wait until I finish my statement. I have brought to this board,
Okay, all right. We have a motion on the floor. If we're going to diverge from this, we can talk about it later. We have a motion on the floor before we get any more involved in something else. So, we've all heard the arguments here back and forth, and we're looking at 8.17. We have a motion, we have a second, we've had certainly discussion. So I'll take a vote to accept 8.17, Treasurer's Agreement. All say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I requested a roll call, and I was interrupted.
What's the point of a roll call when, who's saying nay?
I'll say nay and Will will say nay, so that suffices. Anybody else have a nay or no?
Okay.
I don't think so, so I don't think we need a roll
A
call.
roll call is not necessary unless there's confusion as to the vote.
Okay.
So Lou, you and I can
Nay.
both be on
Right.
as negative votes. Anybody else?
Nay.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay.
The last one I have is 8.18, which is the accounts payable report for May of 2016. I'm looking for a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Discussion.
I have one thing, that there was a retired gentleman that retired from the district many moons ago, that there was a expense for a medical exam that was like $1,500. And it was explained that that was probably promised to him in a severance or retirement account. Now, Mr. Aliota requested a copy of that, and we haven't gotten that. So therefore, I'm going to vote no, since we can't really zero that one out, to approve it, because I haven't seen it in paper. It's hearsay that it was agreed upon. And those are those little, items that are going back to skeletons in the closet, because that's not necessary. Because we approved our daycare people getting exams for $40 a piece at the St. Vincent's Hospital. I think that's fine. So somebody else needs to get a $1,500 exam that's on the taxpayer's back when they're providing insurance. I have a problem with that. So therefore, I'm going to vote no. And I don't know, will you have any other?
Yeah, under discussion, are we under discussion?
Yeah.
At the present time?
Yep, because we have a motion and a second.
On
Well-
June,
We have that coming up, Mr. Lowe,
That
that question.
I think that topic's coming under new business 10.01.